What's up, nerds and nerdettes and wee little nerdlings all? It's your buddy Big Johnny G, the Two Gut Pixie presents Legendary Gaming. Hey, how's everyone doing? Welcome back to another episode of Midday Monologue Monday. So today I want to sit down and I want to talk to you guys about Halloween retro gaming to me. You know, because it's not all about the newest board games that are zombies and Cthulhu and haunted houses and vampires and Draculas. It goes back a little bit further than that. Well, yeah, it still kind of does cover all that, but you know what's different? Because it's old, and I'm old, and I like old. So here's some old stuff. Here we are, down at the table. So, I think the first time I sort of encountered the concept of a kind of seasonally themed board game, you could say, has to go back longer than before I found the game. So back in, I think it was 1974. My dad took me on a trip down to Florida, down to Walt Disney World. Just the two of us. Just two guys, dad and his kid, just hanging out for some vacation, bonding over a mouse. But I had a lot of fun there, of course. I mean, what 5-6-year-old wouldn't, right? I mean, it's built for that. I remember having a lot of fun with a few things. I remember the Swiss Family Robinson being fun. I remember my father boring the heck out of me, dragging me through the Hall of Presidents. I remember the ride It's a Small World After All, which really blew me away because I had never heard that song before except one other occasion. That was a kindergarten graduation song. And the only reason I remember it was a kindergarten graduation song is because when I was at Disney World and I went through that ride, I thought it was amazing that they had a song about my graduation song. I mean, a ride about my graduation song. That's the only reason why I remember that. But what I remember being probably most blown away by was the haunted house. The entire theatrics of it, besides the ride itself. You know, the whole build-up while you're waiting in line and you're seeing the family history in the portraits, so to speak. And then that ride down the elevator where the portraits, the way they're presented at first, you know, kind of look normal. And then the room lowers and in the portraits you get to see there's more of it that was behind the wall and it's being revealed as it was lowered. And, you know, something funny like they're sitting on a keg of loaded dynamite and, you know, things like that. The whole ride itself with the holograms that were being used and in cases, you know, the holograms appearing in front of you. At the end of the ride, they appeared in an empty seat. If you had an empty seat in the car with you, boom, you know, one of the ghosts appeared there. I mean, wow, it blew my mind away as a kid. So flash forward a few years later, me and the family are on vacation in Jersey Shore down Seaside Heights. And one of the wheels of chance, one of the gambling wheels, I see has that. It's one of the prize options. Oh man, I had a nerdgasm before I knew what a nerdgasm was. So, long story short, I'm an only child, so I ended up getting it. My parents and aunts and uncles played the wheel until they had enough wins to get the game. Wow, I loved this game. It was so perfectly done to the whole theme of the ride, the imagery of the ride, the effects. It was 3D. You know, the board had stand-up parts, so you saw the walls and the second floor and everything. And if you had gone on the ride like me, I mean, it was all completely familiar. But what made the game last the longest for being pulled off the shelf, and at times it was pulled off the shelf not even to play the board game because of this one little aspect of it. You see, about in the center of the board were these, I think it was 5, right? I think it was 5 cogwheels. And they were sandwiched, so you had 2, and then the one in the middle. So they would all teeth up and turn together. And the tiles on the board that you have to travel through go through this. And there are effects and things you can land on that will give you the option to turn the cogs. And that really messes up the other players. And wow, I had so much fun with that. In fact, I had so much fun with that we ended up using that for years. I would pull that out, and we'd play D&D, and we put the old Grenadier or Raoul Parther or pewter figures, and I would just make up an adventure as we went along in the house, just so we could get to use those cool cogwheels. But even when we played the game for itself, and we weren't ripping off the parts for D&D, the game was so much fun to play. It was so beat up. But the last time I saw it years ago, it was so lovingly. Let me say that it was so lovingly beat up. You could tell the game was well played over the years, and now that's a sign of a great game. If you're looking on someone's game shelf and their games are torn up, that means they've played it a lot. That means it's given them a lot of fun, and that game totally was. To me, as a kid, that was the first real, like I said to begin with, kind of themed idea, holiday, seasonal themed idea, haunted house. I mean, you can play it any time. It doesn't have to be around Halloween and October, but it certainly fits very well. If you want to have a game for Halloween, it fits perfectly well. It meets the requirements, hey, it's a haunted house. And if you have gone on the ride, you got to check this game out. I'm sure there's been updates over the years, but then again, they've updated the ride over the years. I don't even know if there has been updates. I mean, this game could be completely off the radar because it's so old. I didn't bother looking it up before I did this video because I just wanted to talk about this really cool, fun, haunted house, Halloween-style board game I used to play when I was a kid. And my parents used to play with me, and they used to have fun with it. Anthony, Tony played it when we were kids, and he fondly remembers that game as well. So that's a great little retro game for Halloween. Something you might want to look into. We certainly had fun with it, and if I had it here now, I would pull it off the shelf and I would show it to you. So I just wanted to talk about a retro game. I think there's another one I want to talk about, but I want to try to keep these fairly short. So it's already going into 8 minutes. So, I'll save the other one for next Monday. I'll talk about another horror game from my youth that was a fantastic board game. But for right now, I think the Disney's Haunted House board game, that's a great topic. So look that game up. I wish I had more videos on it. Like I said, if I had a copy of it, boom, it would be on the table, and there'd be videos for you to watch. But sadly, I don't. Thank you, my friends. Thank you, everyone, for checking us out on Facebook, following us there, on Twitter, on Instagram, and thank you so much for subscribing to Two Gun Pixie right here on YouTube, for commenting and liking our videos, and of course for sharing our videos and with your other nerdy game friends. It's very cool, man. That's like the greatest compliment you can give us when you do that. So, everyone, I'm your buddy Big Johnny G. The Two Gun Pixie presents Legendary Gaming, and I am